Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network. Tonight we are at the Myrtle Beach Speedway with the Leave the Pack Super Series for the Barry Elvis Performance and Fabrication 150. We have 25 drivers, I believe, on hand for tonight's 150 lap affair. Right now, 2 drivers completing the final last chance qualifier. Everybody makes it in on time, but with the way iRacing sets up these sessions, you do have to run the last chance race anyway. So Justin Coleman, who did not get any practice here this evening, did not get a qualifying lap in. He is getting those much needed practice laps here before we kick things off. And Chris Fleming also on track as well in the number 18 machine here this evening. We'll look at the track here tonight, Myrtle Beach, one of the more famous tracks on iRacing and in the real life scene as well. Obviously no longer in operation. Kind of a cooler track here tonight, only 81 degrees on the track, 78 degrees in the air. But tires are definitely still going to be a factor. These drivers do have a set of tires in the pits when we send them green later on, if they choose to use them. So strategy will be a thing all night long. The tires will be a talking point, as it usually is here in the Leave the Pack Super Series. And really any short track race, especially on iRacing. Track position matters as well, but a lot of times when you get into the 150, 200 lap races, tires late in the race do mean a big thing. So we'll see what happens as we are just about ready to send them green. These drivers have a 3-minute warm-up session before we kick off tonight's racing activities. The sun begins to set. We'll look at the schedule coming into tonight. Last week we were at the Hickory Motor Speedway, which we saw a caution-filled RJW21 Management 200. Kyle Terzak ended up walking away with the victory, his 3rd of the season. He currently sits 2nd in the Leave the Pack Super Series point standings to Tracy Petter. Petter has 2 wins to his name, and he's been a little bit more consistent up at the front. He leads by just 14 over Kyle Terzak. Gavin Gardner sitting in the 3rd spot in the 55. He is 68 points back from your top 2. Connor Knowlton sits just 1 point behind him in 4th. We've had 5 races so far. Quite a few drivers with 5 starts. Well over 10 have completed a full season so far. These drivers do have 2 drop weeks if they choose to use them. Their 2 worst finishes will be dropped from points, so you have to run all... you don't have to run all 10, but you have to run 8. You can't drop that final race at Nashville Fairgrounds. The top 8 races in points will count, just trying to even up things a little bit. Obviously, it is a little bit harder to get free in the middle of the week. But during the winter, things are cold. Snow is on the ground right now, and if you're like me in northern Indiana, you don't want to go outside, you're going to be coped up on iRacing. I have been certainly coped up on iRacing this winter. We've done a lot of broadcasting. We were doing 4 nights a week. I believe we are going to be down to 3 as of recent announcements. I believe we will be back down to 3 streams a week. But this week, only going to have 2. Tonight is my last one of the week. No Trackmaster Sim Series this week, as they have the week off to take a mid-season break and settle down before we get into the second half and conclusion of Season 4. That is all in a couple weeks on Thursday nights. Looking forward on our Leave the Pack Super Series schedule, we've got IRP next week and then Oxford Plains after that. 2 vastly different racetracks. 100 laps at IRP, 200 laps at Oxford Plains. Both racetracks that have a different groove. IRP usually run up towards the wall, kind of a diamond line. Oxford, you want to keep that car tucked to the bottom lane, but we have seen it become a two-groove racetrack towards the ends of races. So we'll see what happens in those events coming up. But it is time to send the field green flag racing here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. Field is down on the starting grid. And we are going to meet our starting field for tonight's Barry Elvis Performance in Fab 150. I'm going to trackside camera of these drivers for you guys. And on the pole, it's going to be the number 79 machine of Tracy Petter, an 18.045. The best lap we saw all night. It was a bunch of 18.1s, 18.2s, and Tracy Petter blows him out of the water with an 18.045 in qualifying. So he will bring the field to green. To his outside, last week's winner, that's Kyle Terzak in at the number 15. Going to start from the second spot here tonight. Try to shrink that points gap to Tracy Petter, who holds the lead. Starting third in this one is going to be Brian Gravel in the number 22 machine. Last week at the Hickory Motor Speedway, Gravel finished in the fourth spot, just one spot shy of the podium. We'll see what he can do tonight, starting third. To his outside, it's going to be Christian Peterson in the 23 machine. He's got a podium this season already. Trying to get another one here tonight. Brandon Elvis going to start from the fifth spot. Elvis, part of the title sponsor here tonight, Barry Elvis Performance and Fabrication. Brandon Elvis, the messenger of getting Barry to sponsor tonight's race. So thank you, Brandon and Barry, for sponsoring this race at Myrtle Beach here tonight. Hopefully it's a great one for you guys. Starting to his outside, the Brandon and Brandon show in row number 3. It's going to be Brandon Atkinson on the inside, or outside, in the sixth spot. Starting third, or fourth row inside, it's going to be Connor Knowlton in the number 2. His outside, it'll be James Pileski in the 93. Ryan Pittman in the 08 going to roll off from the 9th spot, and then he'll have Adam Fulford Jr. to his outside, starting 10th. Kyle St. Jean and Connor Lee going to make up row number 6. Back behind them, going to be Matt Borndren, Chris Shepard, Gavin Gardner, Jeremiah Woods Jr., Jaden Russell, Logan Drumheller, Justin Mulliken, Stephen Choate. You see the rest of them right there as we get ready to send them green through the restart zone. And we are racing here at Myrtle Beach. A late green flag there, and everybody getting down into turn number 1 for the first time here. Through the first set of corners, a very treacherous turn number 1. Everybody through turn number 3, and there's contact through the center. Jeremiah Woods involved, Chris Shepard. Stephen Choate with damage as well. A couple other drivers collected. Carter Hollingsworth has some damage on the front end of that 28 machine and the rear end of that car. And big time trouble in the first lap down into turn number 3. I didn't see what happened. I want to watch. I think it was the triple twos or Chris Shepard, one of the two. And I think Jeremiah Woods just got into the back bumper of Chris Shepard, and then nowhere a couple of those drivers could go. And a big one that's going to cause a lot of chaos here in this one early. Go on board with Jeremiah Woods in the triple two machine. And I think maybe the 19 might have grabbed the wall. And I think just didn't, or Woods just didn't expect Shepard to check up at that moment. We'll watch. And on board with Chris Shepard right here. I don't know. I think the triple two machine may have just gotten in there a little bit hot. And you can see the ride that Shepard had. He's obviously going to have a lot of damage here in these first couple laps. He's going to have to spend a lot of time on pit road getting that machine fixed up. As up front, Tracy Petter takes the early lead. He was able to get the jump on that restart. And he will lead Kyle Terzak. Brian Grable in the 3rd position, Christian Peterson 4th, Brandon Elvis 5th. Your top 5 are all the same. Brandon Atkinson in the 15 machine. I don't know if he missed the start there or what happened, but he did come to pit road, or he was on pit road. I think he may have missed the start, so Atkinson back in the 19th spot. We double the field up and get ready to send them back racing. Hopefully we can have a better start right there. A lot of the cars outside of the top 10 got tangled up in that one. But up front, Tracy Petter and Kyle Terzak going to lead us back to the green, as it looks like the pace car lights are coming back on here. Not sure what happened. I don't think race control was happy with the lineup. Drivers getting things sorted out back. It's 3 cars down pit road. I believe might be out of this one already. Jeremiah Woods Jr. in the 222 machine. Logan Drumheller and Chris Shepard as well. Also, the field comes down the back straightaway. Look at the 1 to go signal here. Tracy Petter going to bring Kyle Terzak back to the green. The green flag comes out a lot later than the restart zone, so that initial start was a lot later than what we're going to see some of these guys go. We'll see the restart zone out of turn number 4. Petter and Terzak side by side for the top spot. Going to bring them back to the green. Get timing and scoring up on the left side of your guys' screen. Petter brings them midway through the restart zone, back into the gas pedal, and we are back racing. Lap number 8. We're back green, down into turn number 1. Down the back straightaway they go. Everybody getting single file as quickly as they can. Brandon Elvis has Connor Knowlton to his outside. Knowlton in the 2 machine trying to hang tough in that second groove. You can do it here at Myrtle Beach, but on these restarts, it's a little bit harder to get those cars rotated up off the corner. As you see Knowlton trying to hold his ground, makes a little contact with James Pileski in the 93 machine. Pileski up off the corner a little bit. Gonna take that spot away. Connor Knowlton gonna fall back in line behind him into the 7th spot. As up front, your top 3. Single file, a little bit different line from Kyle Terzak. You saw him enter up on the outside and even down into turns 1 and 2. He's entering a lot higher than both Tracy Petter and Brian Grable. And that's one of the things that I really like about Myrtle Beach. It opens up these drivers to different racing lines. They can make different things happen with their race cars. We see a battle for the 13th spot. That's Justin Coleman on the outside lane trying to hold off Justin Mulliken. Battle of the Justins here on lap number 12. I think Coleman gonna get out of the throttle a little bit there and let Mulliken go by for now. A lot of patience required here in the super late models. You don't want to push your equipment too hard too early. Like I mentioned earlier on, these guys do have a set of tires in the pits, but you also don't want to burn your tires up early on and have to take that set of tires early. Up front, we've got a battle for the race lead. Tracy Petter has Kyle Terzak to his back bumper. We look a little bit further back. James Pileski takes the 5th spot away from Brandon Elvis. Elvis on the outside lane in the 54. Trying to hold his ground, but Connor Knowlton going to sneak to the inside as well. That's the tough thing about the outside lane at Myrtle Beach. If it's not rolling, if it's not the preferred lane, you often feel like you've put an anchor out the car. It's so hard to get that car rotated with that car to your inside. As you see Elvis tag the wall a little bit there. Down the front straightaway, he'll have to concede that position, as up front, Kyle Terzak takes a peek to the inside through turns 3 and 4. Tracy Petter going to give him a lot of room and try to run up off the top, and he will complete the clear down into turn number 1, and there's contact. Kyle Terzak gives the bumper to Tracy Petter. Now Petter going to be back to the second spot. Kyle Terzak to the lead here. 17 laps in. It's a 150-lap race. It may be a little bit early to be putting the elbows out, but Terzak wanted the track position. He wants to lead this race and control here early on. Petter going to try to regroup back behind him. He's got Brian Grable in his rearview mirror as well. That machine seems to have found a second rhythm here. Lap times even throughout your top 3. Very close. And how about James Pileski in the 93 machine? He's working his way forward early on. He's up to the 4th spot. Started 8th in this one. Just got around Christian Peterson. As Peterson in the 23 may be starting to drop back a little bit. Back behind, Justin Mulliken to the inside of Gavin Gardner. That is for the 12th spot on the racetrack. We're 20 laps into this one. Oh, Mulliken grabbed the turtle curbs down in 1 and 2. Lost some ground. That is one thing about Myrtle Beach that is very tough. Down in 1 and 2, getting that car to rotate all the way at the bottom without hitting those curbs. As you can see, the 55 really holding them tight, and he does it again. Drives up over the curb, and Gardner able to hold that gap. Justin Coleman looking to the outside of Justin Mulliken, and that's one thing about Myrtle Beach as well. If you try to make the pass, sometimes you end up getting past. Changing up your line, overheat the tires a little bit. We look up in front, Adam Fulford. Oh, around goes James Pileski. 93 machine goes for a spin, and it turns 1 and 2. I think he locked it down and was able to keep it out of the wall. But no longer going to be running in that 4th spot. We'll see what happened. As he and Christian Peterson were battling. I think the 93 machine, just got in too hot and lost the rear end. Man, tough break for James Pileski. That's the second week in a row or second race for him in a row, I should say, that he has been in a good spot, running well, and just has not had the luck go his way. We'll watch on board with Christian Peterson there, try to see what he saw. Yeah, you can see the car just comes out on James Pileski. Nothing he can really do there. Once the car gets to a certain point, you just kind of have to lock it down and hope you don't get the outside wall. We do have some cars coming down to pit road here. Christian Peterson in the 23 brings it pit side. I don't think he's getting damage repaired. There are some drivers down pit road getting damage fixed, but I think Peterson may be trying to either play with the fuel strategy or just be in a better position on track. Carter Hollingsworth, another driver down pit road, trying to get damage fixed. He was involved in that big incident. You're going to have to let the field go by here. He will lose a lap. So put Carter Hollingsworth 1 lap down. Still a long way to go, though. You can get the damage repaired throughout a long race like this if you just stick with it. Right now, there are only 20 cars on the lead lap. So if you stay ahead of all of them, should be fine. Or stay ahead of the lead lap, I should say. Just hard to go multiple laps down and recover, especially late in a race. But I'm curious to see on this restart how the aggression level is. Remember how Terzak got the lead from Tracy Petter? He put a little bumper to him down into turns 1 and 2. We'll have to see what Tracy Petter's response is, but he's going to have to get a good restart. As Brian Gravel in that 22 machine is going to be hungry for the second position. I think he had speed there before the caution flag flew. He was hanging close with Kyle Terzak and Tracy Petter. We will see what happens here as the lights are back off. Kyle Terzak chooses the inside lane. We will send him back racing with just under 125 laps to go. Through turns 3 and 4, they'll get into the start zone. Kyle Terzak goes a little bit later in the box, and that brings us back to the green. Everybody's single file in the top 5 down the back straightaway. As we've got, I think, a pile up in turns 3 and 4. Some cars tangled up on the exit. Nick Giampa involved. Matt Vorndren out back, collected as well. Let's watch what happened here. I didn't quite catch everything down the back straightaway. And it looked like another victim of the outside wall. Ryan Pittman in the 08 machine got into the wall, and a huge crash happened back behind him. We're going to watch that again. Gets up off the corner and then just gets up into the wall. And when you get up into the wall on iRacing here at Myrtle Beach, it just kind of pulls you in and does not let you go. And you saw that right there. Ryan Pittman was unable to get that car out of the wall, and a lot of cars had nowhere to go back behind. I'm going to watch the drone footage here. You can see just how quickly he checks up, and when Gavin Gardner hits him, it kind of swings the whole car out, and there's nothing that anybody behind him can do. You're full throttle down the straightaway, and a car is just all of a sudden right there, and there's nothing you can do. Third caution flag of the night so far. Your biggest mover, Justin Coleman, the guy that did not get any practice, loaded into qualifying with 20 seconds left to register. Up into the top 10, up 16 spots so far. So he's having a good run to start this one. Hopefully he can keep moving forward. Is up front. Kyle Terzak on that last restart got a really good jump from the inside lane. Tracy Petter was not able to pull alongside down into turns 1 and 2. That's what he's going to have to keep doing. The field gets the 1 to go signal here. I think race control sending them single file after the back-to-back cautions right there. So it'll be a single file restart after those big couple cautions. That'll spread things out here. And if you're not one of the drivers up in the top 5, you're going to want to make positions early because it's going to be really hard to make them once we're all spread out. Kyle Terzak makes his way into the restart zone, goes late in the zone once again. So we are back under yellow. Caution flag back out already. Did not see what exactly happened there. But there was a caution maybe before they even went green. Like the 08 machine had trouble. And into the wall again, man. That wall just has it out for Ryan Pittman. And didn't even get back going. And under caution one more time. Pittman in the 08. Pulls it back to pit road. And race control definitely going to keep him single file after that one. Did not get... I don't even think we were at the line. I didn't see the green flag come back out when the scoring tower on the left side did the transition. It appeared with the yellow flag, and I was slightly confused, and then I looked up, and it said 4th caution flag. And that puts us under yellow once again. We'll have to retry this one. I think they'll get the 1-to-go signal this time. 17 cars on the lead lap now. A couple drivers still getting damage fixed down pit road. A lot of carnage here early. And really, aside from that James Pileski spin, which was the 2nd caution, it's been multi-car incidents with quite a bit of carnage, so no shock to see so many cars out of the race early on. But we'll see what happens here as we try it one more time down into turns 1 and 2. Through 3 and 4 they come. And late in the restart zone once again for Kyle Terzak. He's getting a good launch, kind of keeping Petter on his toes, as he will have 2 car lengths down the back straightaway. Couple cars trying to make passes here early. Kyle St. Jean to the inside of Connor Lee. Lee in the 18 had some trouble last week at the Hickory Motor Speedway. Hoping for a better run here tonight. He's currently in the 7th spot, battling with Kyle St. Jean, as St. Jean is to the inside. But Connor Lee making that top groove work. We come back to complete lap 40. Oh, there's contact there. I think Lee got loose off the corner. Kyle St. Jean's going to be able to go on by. But we had almost an incident there, as Connor Lee trying to get back down to the bottom. Up front, Tracy Petter just set the fastest lap of the race in the 79 machine in 18:34. He's trying to track down Kyle Terzak in the 15. Ryan Gravel sits in the 3rd spot back behind him. He's got Connor Knowlton sitting in his rear view. Knowlton in the 2 machine trying to work his way forward. He started 7th in this one, up to the 4th spot. Last time around, just a little bit slower than Brian Gravel. Definitely doing a good job hanging on in the 4th spot. Back to 5th is Brandon Elvis, back up to where he started. He's kind of shuffled around that 5th to 6th position. He runs comfortably in the top 5, just shy of the lap 50 mark. Justin Coleman back behind, got a little bit sideways that time through turns 1 and 2. That allowed Connor Lee to sneak to the inside. Now Connor Lee going to try to take over that 8th spot. He will do so across the line. Justin Coleman going to try to hold his ground on the outside lane. And you can see how that outside lane is able to roll the momentum and keep the car wound up. It's a little bit tougher to do it out of 4 sometimes, but you can see the run that Coleman gets up off the corner, driving that car straight. And right there again, that 14 just pulls forward down the backstretch. So tough to pass sometimes here at Myrtle Beach, because you can drive to somebody's inside, but you don't have enough drive up off the corner on the bottom. You're not going to be able to complete that pass. It looks like Connor Lee going to be able to make the move work. Justin Coleman going to be back to the 9th spot. He'll have Brandon Atkinson to his back bumper in the 15A machine. Up front, Kyle St. Jean looking to the inside underneath Adam Fulford. Fulford running in the 7th spot as St. Jean gets around. Going to take P6. Connor Lee going to try to take advantage of Fulford up on the outside. And that's one of the trends I have noticed. When one car passes at Myrtle Beach, several cars start to pass at Myrtle Beach. You can see this group getting a little bit more active. This is for the final spot in the top 10. Christian Peterson on the outside lane, trying to take that spot away from Brandon Atkinson. There's James Pileski right there as well in the 93. Oh, he's going to sneak to the inside underneath Brandon Atkinson. Atkinson's got to back out right there, and he'll fall back to the 12th spot. Is up in front. Kyle St. Jean gets around Brandon Elvis. Elvis struggling a little bit with that race car back to the 6th spot. He's kind of fallen out of touch with Connor Knowlton, who runs in the 4th position. Up front, though, your top 2, Kyle Terzak leads Tracy Petter by about 2 car lengths up out of turn number 4. Make it 3 across the line. You can see the 15's getting that good run off the exits of the corners. I think that is where Tracy Petter is beating him. Lap 56 up on the board now. Lap times for your top 2. Fairly close. That time by Tracy Petter was just a little bit quicker. He tries to track down Terzak for the lead. The gap's been right about 0.3 of a second. Neither driver able to get a clear advantage over the other. Been very back and forth, but I'm sure Tracy Petter is hungry to get back to the front, hungry to get back to victory lane here in the Leave the Pack Super Series. Things did not end well for him last time we raced at Hickory. Was running in the 2nd spot, and then there was contact on a late race restart. Through the restart zone, there was some wheel spin from a couple parties, and it ended up not going the right way for Tracy Petter at all. It's down into turns 3 and 4. You can see him running a little bit different line. That 15 machine opening up the exit, or the entrance. 79 of Petter keeping it more tucked down. And the gap now, the closest that it's been. Inside of 0.3 of a second. As Terzak scrapes the wall just a little bit down the front stretch. We're going to look back to the battle for the 10th spot. James Pileski trying to make his way back up into the top 10 after that spin earlier on. Oh, and Christian Peterson in the 23 machine up into the outside wall. I think Peterson may have ran out of room there in that 2nd groove. And James Pileski going to move up to the 10th spot. Peterson going to move back to 12th, battling with Steven Choate. Man, that backstretch wall has been out for vengeance here tonight. We've seen it collect a couple drivers, even on lap 1. I think that is maybe what caused the incident in turn 3. Look a little bit further up. Adam Fulford right now behind Brandon Elvis and Kyle St. Jean. And we'll look at the lap time difference here. Fulford just a little bit slower than Terzak that last time, all the way back in the 7th spot. So Just that little bit of difference on speed. You can see the time it is making up. Behind them, Pileski continuing to try to move forward here. He moves to the inside of Justin Coleman. Coleman going to try to use that outside lane. And it's working here. It definitely works later in the run. You can see 14 pulled off. James Pileski up in front of him. Brandon Elvis out of shape in the 54. He's going to move up the racetrack. As things are getting exciting here at Myrtle Beach. Adam Fulford and Connor Lee side by side right there. Justin Coleman way up the racetrack. James Pileski, I think, going to take that spot away, and he will do so down into turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, for 5th, Brandon Elvis underneath Kyle St. Jean. St. Jean trying to hold that spot, but Elvis right there to the inside. Connor Lee's looking on the outside lane even. That 18 machine's pretty quick here. Just shy of the halfway point. As Brandon Elvis pulls alongside down into turn 3. 55 is St. Jean up top. Elvis down low. You can just see that 55 machine carry his momentum on the outside. Brandon Elvis trying to open up his entry and use a little bit more room up to get the run down the back straightaways. We've got a caution flag on the speedway. Chris Fleming pointed the wrong direction in turn number 4. And that puts us under yellow for the 5th time, and now the leaders are going to be faced with a tough task. Do we pit or do we stay out? We are just shy of the halfway point. I think we'd probably see him pit here, and I was just getting ready to say, yeah, I think we're going to have most of the drivers come to pit road. We may see some drivers stay out, but certainly a lot of the field wanting to come to pit road. Brandon Atkinson going to try to stay out. Christian Peterson will stay out with the field. Carter Hollingsworth gets the lucky dog. We get down pit road. There'll likely be 2 tires and fuel for your leaders here, but we'll see how they exit. Tracy Petter just a little bit quicker, and he takes the lead. He takes the lead off the exit of pit road, and I only say that is exciting because last time we had pit stops, I think Petter was a little bit better in the box as well there, so he'll take the lead in the pits, but they're going to have Christian Peterson and Brandon Atkinson up in front of them. But they've got to get around first, so it'll be an interesting restart here. We'll be right at the halfway point, I think, when we send them back green. Let's see what happened to Chris Fleming, though. That put us under yellow. He was running out back in the 16th spot. I think may have just had trouble in turn 3 and 4. Yeah, you can see he gets in a little bit too hot. Right in front of your leaders, actually. On the exit of 4. Good miss by Logan Drumheller. Not grab Chris Fleming's front bumper. Everybody doing a good job avoiding. That's kind of a blind spot in the corner for those guys to really have to get on the binders. So good job by the field to avoid Fleming. And we will be doubling them up this time by... I was getting ready to say, are we going to send them back green single file? But we end up doubling the field up. We'll get the 1-to-go signal this time by. And folks, at the halfway point in this race, let me know how your driver's doing. Where are they at in this race? Who are you cheering for? Let me know in the chat below. So we get the 1-to-go signal here. Ready to send them back green. Essentially, we split it into 2 75-lap races. As far as the tires go. A couple drivers did elect to go on an alternate strategy. Brandon Atkinson and Christian Peterson stay out right here, and we'll see how it treats him. As Brandon Atkinson will have control here on the restart as he brings him into the restart box. Gonna go nice and early. Oh, and maybe not. A couple of cars through the restart zone got stacked up there. And man, I don't know if they just didn't get going in the box or what happened there. But wow, what was that? 3 wide on the front straightaway. Somehow everybody kept it straight. I honestly don't know how they kept it straight here and wrecked at Hickory last week. That was crazy. But up front, Tracy Petter going to be the big beneficiary of that, and he will take the lead from Brandon Atkinson. Connor Knowlton going to be in the second spot. He'll follow suit. And Kyle Terzak going to pass as well for third. Connor Knowlton gives a lot of space to Kyle Terzak in the 15 machine. The 2 going to be back to third. As now Kyle Terzak just set the fastest lap of the race right there. He's found the speed once again in that 15 machine. Steven Choate in the 72 gets by Christian Peterson. Brandon Atkinson, the other driver that stayed out on tires, just fell out of the top 5 back to the 6th spot. But with the amount of drivers that came to pit road, it's going to be tough for Christian Peterson and Brandon Atkinson to really drive back through the field unless we get a caution with, 30, 40 to go. They may be able to get the job done. Right now we're watching Brian Grable move to the inside of the 15. That is for the 8th position. So at this moment, the strategy not working for Brandon Atkinson and Christian Peterson. But we will have to watch and see if they get a caution flag at a good time. Back up front, we've got a 2-car breakaway. Tracy Petter and Kyle Terzak lead Connor Knowlton by 1.4 seconds. As Petter trying to replicate what he was doing earlier in the race. But now he's got to keep Kyle Terzak behind him. Remember how Terzak passed Petter that first time. He may be a little bit more... Petter may be a little bit more aggressive defending, trying to hold that race lead. We'll have to see what happens. As look at this field packed behind, I believe, maybe Brandon Elvis right there. Everybody lined up, ready to roll forward. Connor Lee in the 18 machine, right on the back bumper of Brandon Elvis. James Pileski on the back bumper of the 14 of Justin Coleman, taking a big lunge to the inside, down into 1. But you see the run that the 14 is able to get on the outside. Pileski makes contact right there. Now Brian Grable in the back bumper. '22 machine trying to work his way back up to the 3rd spot. Did not get the best jump on that restart. He may have been one of the drivers that really had to get out of the gas pedal. Currently running in the 8th position, but he had a lot of speed earlier on. Let's see if he can work his way back forward. Up front we go. Battle for the lead starting to heat up. We'll look at the lap times here for Tracy Petter, Kyle Terzak. Petter was a little bit better that last time, but Terzak starting to cut out of that gap a little bit. We'll see right here. Yeah, very close on the lap times, but Petter just slightly better that last time around. James Pileski trying to get by Justin Coleman. That is for the 6th position. Coleman just hanging on the outside lane. Pileski has not been able to fully clear. 93 moves up through the center of the corner a little bit. I think that's going to make the pass work. I don't think that was necessarily how Pileski wanted to do it, but I think that's how he had to do it there. Coleman was putting up a fight on that outside lane, and Pileski just couldn't get the power down through turns 1 and 2 without moving up a little bit. Now you see Brian Grable sort of struggled with some of the same thing right there. As actually Justin Coleman gets back down clear in front of him. He'll have Stephen Choate to his outside. Back up in front of him, battle for the 4th position. Connor Lee underneath Brandon Elvis. Elvis going to take that spot away on the outside lane. And the outside is definitely becoming the better groove at this moment. Drivers aren't able to get the runs up off the bottom to make that pass really work. Could be the tires situation. A lot of these drivers did just come down and get right side tires only. As once again, Brian Grable looks to the inside underneath Justin Coleman. He'll have a better run this time down into 1. And we'll see if he can make the pass here. He's able to drive that car through the center. And Coleman in turn 4 saves it almost, and he's going to go around. That'll be a caution flag. And man, that backstretch wall once again takes another. You saw him get up into the wall and lose a lot of speed, and then trying to get back out of it, I think just lost the handling on that race car. And Justin Coleman goes for a spin. We'll watch it back and see what happened here. See up off the corner, the 14 just grabs the wall. It actually gets tagged by Stephen Choate. Know where the 72 could have gone. We'll watch that on board with Stephen Choate. Yeah, and it sucks because that happens very frequently, but every time it happens, you just never expect it. To know where the 72 machine really could have gone. And a couple cars coming to pit road to get some damage, as well as Brandon Atkinson and Christian Peterson coming to pit road to get their tires. And the 23 looks like going to get some damage repaired on the front bumper of that race car as well. Carter Hollingsworth has been working on that 28 machine all race long. Really hasn't had an opportunity to get it entirely fixed, as the back bumper looks a little bit better that time. We're making progress on the 28 machine. Front splitter looks fine. So hopefully we may be back to 100% by the time this thing's all said and done. Up front, field going to be reset. Tracy Petter going to have Kyle Terzak to his outside. Connor Knowlton to his back bumper. And it'll be interesting to see what Tracy Petter does here on this restart. Hopefully it's a better restart than the last one that we saw. As, man, things were wild as everybody tried to get up to speed while also not running over the car in front of them. As the lights drop on the iRacing.com pace car, it's time to send them back green. It'll be a 50-lap shootout coming across the line. So 50 laps to go, 100 laps down. Tracy Petter, Kyle Terzak, the two that have led the most laps so far this race. We'll see what happens as they enter turns 3 and 4. Coming back to lap 101, 50 laps to go. Through the restart zone. And Petter going to fire midway through the box. Good jump there for the 79 machine. And he will be clear down into turns 1 and 2. Kyle Terzak going to be clear down for second as well. Field heads down the back straightaway. Everybody trying to settle back in, get back to their rhythm. But also you want to make as many positions on these starts as you can, as Adam Fulford in the 71 machine got slid up the racetrack and smacked the turn 4 wall. And he is going to lose a lot of time there. I believe the race car may be broken. The rear end looked to be out of that race car. He's going to have to bring it to pit road. Tough break for the 71 of Fulford. As James Pileski gets back down behind Brian Gravel. Move Gravel up to the 6th spot. He'll set his sights on Connor Lee and Brandon Elvis up in front of him. Steven Choate in the 72. He's having a good run. He's been up towards the top 5. Right now sitting in the 8th position. But can he move forward? Back behind Kyle St. Jean underneath Brandon Atkinson. Atkinson gets the run on the top side. Atkinson going to move up into the 10th spot. We've got a 2-car breakaway out front with 45 laps to go. Kyle Terzak trying to track down Tracy Petter. Lap times dead even a 18:59. The last time around to an 18:59. This time around 18:61 to an 18:61. So these two are matching each other's paces perfectly here in these final 45 laps. But Terzak trying everything he can to get to the back bumper of Petter and try to find an opening to the inside. Field single file back behind these two. I think the 79 machine just able to drive off a little bit better maybe. And that is what is keeping him out front at this moment. He's able to keep that car pointed and get the drive up off as he scrapes the wall down the backstretch right there. You saw the car about halfway in the pavement going down into 3. Luckily, he was able to get that car back, but you saw the time that Terzak gained right as it happened. And now Tracy Petter has a mirror full of Kyle Terzak here. $40 laps to go. 110 down. Been an exciting one so far. These two at the front. They're going to put on a nail-biter. We look further back. Justin Mulliken to the inside of Kyle St. Jean. That is for the 11th spot on the racetrack. Mulliken trying to pass cleanly on the bottom. St. Jean's holding them pretty tight there. Trying to give him as little room to get up off the corner as he can. That's really how you hold position here at Myrtle. You just have to squeeze the guy down sometimes. But St. Jean here looks like he may have burned up some of his stuff. That car does not have the turn that it did, and it looks like he is pulling it pit side, actually. That is going to be the night for Kyle St. Jean, I do believe. Tough break for the 55. Back up front, Tracy Petter opening up that gap to Kyle Terzak just a little bit. Almost half a second as they get through turns 3 and 4. Terzak in the 15 trying everything he can to get that car rotated and driven up off. But I think he's just lacking a little bit of drive off. And that's where the 79 of Tracy Petter is beating Terzak right now. Looking back to the 3rd spot, Connor Knowlton right now trying to pick up his 3rd podium of the season. He got a podium a couple weeks ago at the New Smyrna Speedway. Trying to go back here tonight, currently running in the 3rd spot. He's got Brandon Elvis and a bunch of cars back behind him trying to charge their way forward here in these final 35 laps. Brian Gravel is one of those drivers in the 22. He's looking to the inside of Connor Lee. With how tough it has been to pass, just has not been able to get that car up off the bottom on the exit of the corner to complete that pass. Oh, is James Pileski in the 93 machine got all kinds of sideways right there. That's going to check up Brandon Atkinson, Christian Peterson. They'll lose some time. Looks like the 93 of Pileski trying to hang on to that race car. Just 30 laps left to go. Pileski back to the 9th position here. That gives some breathing room to the back bumper of Brian Grable. Allows him to focus more out front on the 18 of Connor Lee. Grable's running out of time here if he wants the shot at the top 3. Connor Knowlton's starting to come back to him a little bit. But the 22 needs to get up into the top, or needs to get up into the top 5 here pretty quick and start to put some pressure on Brandon Elvis. Lee to the outside again in the 18. You can see in his mirror the 22 machine able to look inside that time. Connor Lee driving it in deep on the outside lane. And just look at the run that he gets up off the corner. Actually, almost able to pull to the inside of Brandon Elvis, actually. That car just a rocket ship up off the corner. But like you can see, not able to make that pass work. Grable in the 22. Still trying to close that gap back behind him. Steven Choate and James Pileski battle for the 9th position. Oh, and they almost make contact. They do make contact off of 2 that time. And oh, Pileski down to the inside. Caution flag is out. We saw it right there. Mulliken and Pileski make contact. And I think Pileski was just trying to hold position there and just could not keep that car out in front of those drivers. Let's see what happened. I want to go back a little bit further. The lap before here. That's right out of 2. Then you can see Justin Mulliken to the inside. May have just grabbed James Pileski in the left rear. I think Pileski was trying to come down, keep that gap closed, but it looked like Mulliken was to the inside just barely. And did not back out of it there. Look at it one more time here. This is the lap before. I want to watch the drone footage here. Watch the 93 down into 1. I think he just comes up the racetrack trying to clear. And just is not quite clear. They both have to lift. And then Mulliken driving down to the inside. I think he may have just drove in a little bit hot. And around he goes. So that'll reset things here. With 25 laps to go, Tracy Petter going to have to fire off on another restart and defend from Kyle Terzak. And if you're Tracy Petter, which lane do you choose? Because the outside lane has definitely been the preferred lane when you're side by side, but do you want to give Kyle Terzak the opportunity for any funny business on the inside lane? He's been getting good jumps from the bottom, so we'll see what lane Tracy Petter chooses here, as I believe the lights are going to drop on the iRacing.com pace car, and indeed they do. And we're going to be ready to go back racing with inside of 25 laps to go. Laps running short here at Myrtle Beach. Some of these drivers outside the top 5. Now is their chance to really make their presence known, as this could be the final restart. 14 cars on the lead lap. We're getting ready to send them back green. Tracy Petter and Kyle Terzak enter the restart zone off of 4. Nice and early launch right there from the 79. Kyle Terzak gets a good launch alongside, as he'll try to go to the outside lane through turns 1 and 2. The 15 machine going to be to the outside, and Tracy Petter going to have to give room on that outside lane. Petter down low, trying to get the run up off the corner, but here comes Kyle Terzak to the outside. Turzak to the outside, Petter to the inside. Both of these two drag racing down the back straightaway. It'll be 20 laps to go this time. Kyle Turzak trying to take the top spot back here, and it looks like he will do so at the line. Give it to the 15 machine. They're both trying to hold each other tight, nearly contact that time through the center of the corner as they enter down into turn number 3. Petter trying to keep that car low up off the corner. Turzak keeping it even lower. Contact down the front straightaway that time. Tracy Petter going to pull back ahead through turns 1 and 2. Now Kyle Turzak on the outside lane trying to hold his ground as these two battle, coming back to 18 laps to go. Across the stripe that time, Tracy Petter leads once again. He's starting to move up a little bit, entering the corner. Turzak not able to hold his car as close alongside. And now Tracy Petter enters ahead in turn number 3. That 79 machine starting to get an advantage on the inside, but with the 15 on his outside, he's going to get a little bit hot. You don't want to overheat the right side tires as the 79 still pulling ahead down the back straightaway. But Kyle Turzak still keeping the car to the outside lane, not letting Tracy Petter get fully clear for that race lead. Turzak on the outside lane, trying to drive it in deep and keep the 79 low on the exit. But Petter right now able to control where they go on the exit of the corner, able to run the 15 out just a little bit, use a little bit more throttle. As now Petter pulls ahead, the biggest gap that he's had down into turn number 3. We come back to 14 laps to go. 14 to go this time for Tracy Petter. Leads by half a car across the stripe, but Kyle Turzak right there on the outside lane is a little bit of contact. Turzak and the 15 went up the racetrack. And now Tracy Petter going to have the 15 of Turzak in his rear view mirror. With 13 laps to go, Turzak wants the top spot, but does he have enough speed here in these final couple laps to make an effort and pass Tracy Petter? As Turzak in the 15 into the wall. He pulls it down to the inside lane, hard into the outside wall off of 4. Somehow Brandon Elvis and Connor Knowlton pulled down to the bottom to miss right there. But Turzak going to be out of this one with 11 laps to go. He pulls it pit side. And Tracy Petter now has a 1.1 second advantage over Connor Knowlton. And the victory seems just a little bit closer here. Coming back to 10 laps to go. We watch the battle for what is now second, third, and fourth as Brian Grable starting to put some pressure on Brandon Elvis. Grable wants a piece of that prize money in the third spot. He's got Brandon Elvis right up in front of him. Connor Knowlton runs second. Brian Grable looking down to the inside underneath Brandon Elvis here. That 22 machine still able to drive up off the corner on the bottom. We've seen a lot of guys have trouble passing on the inside here late. The 22, I think he's going to be able to pull alongside and maybe clear Brandon Elvis here with 8 laps to go. Down the back, the 54 of Elvis grabs that outside wall a little bit right there, and that's going to allow Brian Grable to completely clear out front and move the 22 of Grable to third. He'll try to track down Connor Knowlton here with 7 laps to go. But out front, Tracy Petter has opened up that lead to 1.5 seconds. And it looks like he is going to be walking to his third victory of the season to tie Kyle Turzak. This time by, when they come back, it will be 5 laps to go. 5 to go for Tracy Petter. Trying to cap things off with the victory here tonight. Tough break for Kyle Terzak, though, in the 15 machine. Got up into the outside wall and just hit it hard enough that he knew that was the end of his run. He pulled it right down to the bottom lane to avoid incident for everybody else. 4 laps to go this time for Tracy Petter. Trying to win his 3rd race of the season and ultimately extend his points lead. The night that Kyle Terzak had likely going to hurt him in the point standings. But we'll see what happens as there's 3 laps to go. Brian Grable closing up on Connor Knowlton. Grable going to try to steal that 2nd spot here in these final couple laps. Popsicle sticks up in the air this time. 2 laps to go for Tracy Petter here at Myrtle Beach. We'll watch this battle for the 2nd spot down the back straightaway here and see if Brian Grable is able to get any run to the inside of Connor Knowlton. As out of 4, Tracy Petter going to take the white flag final time around here at Myrtle Beach. Petter qualified on the pole with the fastest lap of the night. Lost the lead early on to Kyle Terzak, but did not give up, stuck with it, and ultimately he is going to pick up win number 3 in the Barry Elvis Performance Fabrication 150 here at New Smyrna. Drag race to the line for 2nd. It's going to be Connor Knowlton. Brian Grable 3rd. Oh, Steven Choate wrecking across the line right there. Going to take home the 6th spot. And that will do it for the Barry Elvis Performance and Fab 150 here tonight. I believe it was 13 cars that finished on the lead lap. And Tracy Petter going to bring the field down. He'll park it in victory lane for the 3rd time this season. We're going to grab a word from our top 3 finishers in just a moment. Let me get the results up on screen for you guys so we can see where your favorite driver finished. Then we'll grab a word from our top 3. We'll start with Brian Grable in the 3rd spot here tonight. See if we can't get Gravy up into the booth here. Brian Grable be Gravy up into the broadcast booth here tonight. P3 at Myrtle Beach. How do you feel after that one?
Oh man, I'm really wore out. This track was really hard because you had to be really smooth with your feet and also with your hands, because this one little movement would really upset the car. So you had to be really tensed up and driving at this race.
Well, glad to talk to you 2 nights in a row. Last night we saw you up in the booth on the microphone side. This night we're talking to you after the race. P3 looked like you had a lot of speed there. You were running P3 for a while. When the pit cycle happened, that restart where all the chaos happened, I think you may have fallen back a little bit, lost some of your track position, and had to work for it there at the end, but ended up P3. Who do you have to thank, Grable, for podium finish here at Myrtle Beach?
I'd like to thank Caudle Chassis, RJ Williams, Napa, Champs Auto Care, Pinnell Transmissions. I want to thank you for this awesome paint. I'm still in love with this thing, and it's been 5 months now since you've made it. And also I want to give another shout out to RJ for being on race control tonight. And that'd be about it. And also want to thank Barry Elvis and Brandon Elvis for sponsoring this event.
Yep, great group of guys help putting on this show here tonight. But P3 for you, Grable. Next week we head to IRP, a very multi-groove racetrack. Tends to be up towards the outside lane. What are you thinking heading into that race with a podium finish as momentum?
I'm gonna shoot for another podium. Tonight was a great night for points for Caudle Chassis. So as long as we can move forward with getting consistent top 10 to top 5 finishes, I think the points lead is way too big of a margin to close at this point. So I think we just need to focus on winning team points. So we need to go in as a team and make sure we have one goal set in mind, and that's everybody finish the race and run up front.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to you, Brian, on a 3rd place finish here tonight, and hopefully we can talk to you a couple more times later on this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. All right, that was your 3rd place finisher here tonight. Now to talk to our second place finisher up in the broadcast booth, we have got Connor Knowlton, second place finisher here tonight. Connor, tell me about your run. How do you feel?
Pretty good. The car was it was pretty temperamental tonight. A lot of guys were struggling, and the balance wasn't quite there. So we just kind of picked our way through, controlled what we could control. Had a lot of things go our way, but we executed when we needed to be. So yeah, it was a good run from us. Really happy with how our day went.
Yeah, it was a good run for points. You and Gavin have joked all week long between the two of you, which one's better. He had you by 1 point coming into tonight, and like he'd been saying all week long, oh, it's an even number race. Didn't go very well for him. So I think you're going to take that third spot back in points here tonight with a P2 finish. How are you feeling about the points here as we head into the second half of the season?
I mean, I can't really stress too much about it. As much as Gavin and I joke, he's running the same stuff I am, so he's a good yardstick for how I'm doing. He's gonna put up a good fight when he's feeling good. Peterson's there as well when things go his way. So there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of guys who can really get it done when it needs to be done. So I just got to focus on what I can control. Making sure I give good feedback to the boys, get the car set right, and just make sure I have another night like tonight, just mistake free, hit my marks, clean, consistent, good strategy.
Yeah, definitely have to check all the boxes to have a good run, especially with the competition here in the Leave the Pack Super Series. If you have one slip up down into the corner, it could make or break your race. So you have to be on your toes at all times and on your best at all times to really get the best performance. And good finish for you here tonight. P2, who do you have to thank?
I'd like to give a shout out to Just the Top Media, I'm Lefty Designs, KST Graphics, and a big shout out to Kyle St. Jean from Twisted Speed. We threw the kitchen sink at it right before the race. We were not good, and we had a lot of swings that we needed to make. We made some really good adjustments, and we got it there at the end. So big shout out to him.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to you, Connor, on a second place finish here tonight. Hopefully we can talk to you a couple more times this season, and good luck to you at IRP.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, that was Connor Knowlton, your second place finisher here tonight. We'll talk to our winner, Tracy Petter, up in the broadcast booth. We'll see if we can't grab him. Third time this season, he picks up the victory, and he's going to extend his points lead. Tracy Petter up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Alrighty, well, winner here tonight. It was a tough one between you and Kyle Terzak. He kind of gave you the bumper there in the beginning. You settled in behind him, let him kind of get the lead there in the beginning. When we came down pit road, I don't know what it is with you and pit stops here. I think you might be paying those guys off a little bit down pit road because you have beat Kyle Terzak out of the pits twice in a row when we've had pit stops and been able to execute perfectly and had the track position there. I think that may have been the deciding factor. Just could not get back around you.
I think that definitely was the deciding factor. My pit crew's been coming in clutch. I think we both went really tight, so I think whoever was ahead of each other just wasn't going to be able to pass each other. I've never been so tight in my life. It was horrible.
Well, for a tight race car, you definitely had the gap there at the line. 2.5 seconds in it was a short, like 25 lap run there to finish it out. So definitely had some kind of handling on that 79 machine, but obviously you said not entirely comfortable, but better than the field here tonight. Win at number 3 on the season. Who do you have to thank, Tracy, for a victory once again?
Yeah, I'm going to have to thank my pit guys. That was honestly wicked clutch, and boys at EPI, and you for broadcasting it. Got one quick question. How many drop weeks are there?
We've got 2 drops this season, and with your current pace, I don't know if you're necessarily going to need them. We're putting it to them.
I was just making sure because me and Turk were wondering with him having to use his last right there.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be behind the 8 ball, chasing you down the rest of the season. You had an advantage on him already, but you guys are technically tied on wins. It'll really come down to the drop weeks and who can outdo the other as far as finishing the best in the worst race. So what can you do in these final 4 races to seal the deal, be the champion?
I want them bonus points. If he wins, if I'm gonna get second, I want the bonus points. I want the leading half of the race, the fastest lap, I think that's the only bonus points. Is there another one?
Leading a lap as well, and no incidents is another one. That's one that we've seen a couple of drivers fail to get this season. I think you've gotten it every race, but maybe one.
Yeah, just one. Yeah, as long as I can get a first or a second, try to get those bonus points, it'll be very tough for him. Even if he wins and I get majority of the bonus points and finish second, be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be a close gap between the two of you guys, but it's going to be a fun one to watch throughout the rest of the season. But congratulations to you one more time, Tracy, on a victory here tonight, and hopefully we can talk to you at IRP.
Thank you. You have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too. All right, that was our winner here tonight. Third victory this season. Tracy Petter goes to victory lane, going to extend his points lead. Now let's look at the rest of our finishing results. Connor Knowlton comes home second. Brian Gravel third. Brandon Elvis fourth. Brandon Atkinson fifth. Stephen Choate sixth. Christian Peterson seventh. Carter Hollingsworth eighth. James Pileski ninth. Justin Mulliken 10th. Connor Lee 11th. Justin Coleman comes home in the 14th spot. Chris Fleming 13th. Justin Coleman comes home in the 12th spot, sorry. Chris Fleming comes home in the 13th spot. Kyle Terzak 14th. Zach Murphy 15th. Matt Borndren 16th. Kyle St. Jean 17th. Adam Fulford Jr. comes home 18th. Logan Drumheller 19th. Nick Giampa comes home in the 20th spot. And then rounding out our field, it's Ryan Pittman, Gavin Gardner, Caleb Thompson, Chris Shepard, and Jeremiah Woods Jr. in the 222 machine. So that's going to do it for us here tonight at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. This is the rest of the schedule heading forward. We got Indianapolis Raceway Park next week, Oxford after that, Five Flags, and Nashville Fairgrounds. Two of the best tracks for supers on the service to cap off this season. It's going to be a fun conclusion. We've got only 4 weeks left, so don't miss those races coming up. But hit that red subscribe button if you haven't already, so you guys don't miss out on more iRacing content here on the WD Broadcasting Network. Thank you guys for watching. And one more time, thank you to Brandon and Barry Elvis from Barry Elvis Performance and Fabrication for helping put this race on tonight, helping give these drivers something to race for. Always like to give back to the field that puts on the show. So thank you one more time to Brandon and Barry. I am your host, Winston Deal, signing it off on the WD Broadcasting Network. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We'll see you guys right back here on YouTube next week for the Winter Challenge Series. I'm your host, Winston Deal. Y'all take it easy.